So welcome to the planning workshop Q3. I'm not sure what happened to 2021. The time stopped in about March the 15th last year. Time stopped and it sort of went straight through to now. So how the heck we found ourselves entering pretty much now Q3 2021. Not quite so sure. But anyway, welcome to the planning workshop. I thought it would be good to have some conversations, some ideas, a bit of time out from your busy schedules to be able to do a bit of thinking and planning and structuring around what will Q3 look like, because in the UK right now, the lockdown situation has been sort of extended a bit further, and that's the right term, but it's reasonably open in the UK, but been extended for 4 weeks. Over here, certainly by the end of this month, we're going to have our COVID passports. I'm going to be fully vaccinated. The borders are now open, so I can get into Germany, where the best restaurants are. Anybody French is going to shoot me for that, but we can get to our restaurants in Germany now. We're opening up over here. The restaurants are open, traveling is easier. So we're beginning to climb out of this sort of COVID restrictions, lockdowns. And I think it's a good time to look at, well, what will we be doing Q3 and maybe onwards as well. I think it's genuinely a credit to everybody on the call. I know some of you really well, that we've all got through this thing pretty much nearly unscathed, in a good way. We've had to pivot, do different things. It has been particularly difficult. It's been uncertain. It's been stressful. And I hope now that we can start to move along and the restrictions will continue to ease in for the UK as well. So it's a good time to sort of reflect and to look forwards as well. So just to kick off with a couple of ideas and thoughts and principles, and I was doing a workshop up in Luxembourg last week, a live workshop, which is nice. We look forward to the time we can get together for us a lot as well when we get to our workshops. But live workshop in Luxembourg, talking about time management, and this sort of having a plan for Q3 is great, but you've got to get control of our time, our mindset, our approach, and everything as well. So I want to spend a bit of time talking about those sort of things as well. First of all, there's two types of time that I think I recognize that for me, and I think for everybody as well, is that we have to be contend with. One is real or actual time, diary time, schedule time, clock time, where that's all we can work within. But there's also something else called psychological or perceived time. And the challenge always is that in this very, very short term, I'm talking of weeks or hours, minutes, weeks and days, if you like, or even 90 days, we do tend to overestimate what we can do in the short term, but underestimate what we can do in the long term. We just do. So we tend to let ourselves off the hook with our long-term goals, but beat ourselves up on our short-term goals. And you can see this in look at your own calendars and diaries. And when you're wanting to get something done, it'll be just, I've got 5 minutes free. I'll just do that video. I've got 5 minutes free. I'll just do that report. I'll just, whatever it is, I'll do my accounts, where it's going to be. It never takes 5 minutes. And that's what really messes with our time management, because we are on this psychological or perceived time. For those of us that are working with clients, and we're all working with clients and customers as well. And, Lynn, we're looking for coming over to the UK in September. This is not a sales pitch, but we're doing our first live workshop in September, just off the M6 outside Wolverhampton and Birmingham in September. You'll be notified about that. But we're saying we've got to organise the event. Now, in my mind, for me, well, how long does it take to book an event? You've got to book the hotel, get it all sorted, get the day delegate rate, all that sort of thing. We've got to get the travel sorted out. So we've got to get our accommodation sorted out. Now, in my mind, in psychological time, I'm thinking it's about 20 minutes work. That's it. So Lynn, as you know, that's Lynn's role. Lynn, 20 minutes, go and sort that out. Now, of course, Lynn has informed me, as you can probably imagine, that my 20-minute slot is not quite long enough to organize all that sort of thing. But we work with clients, we work with people around us that maybe they don't know what we actually do all the time. And certainly I'm thinking here, particularly for Jonathan in the legal context, that your clients may think, well, just go and get the patent sorted out. It's a 20-minute job, for goodness sake. And it clearly is not. So we've got to be real careful of this perceived or psychological time that we impose on ourselves compared to the real or actual time, which is what we can actually manage as well, and be realistic with what you can achieve. When we look at the long-term goals and 90-day plans and this sort of thing, we do tend to, in my experience, reduce what we can do. We let ourselves off the hook in our long-term plans and goals, but we overemphasize our short-term. It's a balancing act. And a 90-day plan is really a good opportunity to get them in balance and plan what you're going to do, take time out for yourselves. Otherwise, everything becomes panic, urgent, late, overdue. We don't do our best work. It becomes stressful. And that's when the 90-day plans don't really work. So that's job number one. Look at the time that you're spending or the time you're planning. And is it perceived psychological time or is it real or actual time? And I was speaking with this team up in Luxembourg. Doesn't matter who it was. A great bunch. And there was about 15 people in the room. And they're in the HR recruitment team of one of the big four, a huge organization, thousands of people. And we're talking away about this sort of time. And the question I asked them was, I said, well, who here is busy? Who's busy? And of course, if I asked you guys this question as well, okay. Right, thank you for the message. I'm not cloudy. I'm not sure what that means. I'll do my very best to sort that out. Okay, disable the invitation under view options. Okay, let's have a quick look. Just checking. Yeah, I'm not sure. Thank you. I will do my best to fix that. Okay, good. Thank you. So I said to the team, look, who's busy? And they said, we're all busy. We're all stressed. We're all doing crazy time, crazy hours, taking work home, checking emails in the morning and the weekends, this sort of thing. And if I ask you guys, I think, knowing you as I do, and me as well, are you busy? Of course you are. You're busy. Lots of stuff going on, lots of things happening, and it can get a bit stressful from time to time. Everybody's busy. It's a sort of bit of a disease in business if you're not very careful. What I said to this team up in Luxembourg was, look, if I said to you, you can keep your salary, keep your bonus, keep your commission, keep all your package stays the same, but you can do this. I'll pay you for the same thing. Only going to work 4 days a week. You're only going to be in the office or show up active in the workplace 4 days a week, which means you can have Friday off or Monday off or a Wednesday off or half day Tuesday, half day Thursday, whatever you like. Could you do your work in 4 days a week if your salary and everything stayed the same? And in Luxembourgers will know this, the luncheon voucher scheme stays the same. It's really important for people in Luxembourg. Could you do your job in 4 days a week if you've got the same salary, that sort of thing? And they all said, yeah, of course we could. Yeah, we do that, because they had that incentive to do it. And there's an interest, this book, the Andrew Barnes 4-Day Week book, it's a very interesting case study. Andrew Barnes brought this concept into the business over in New Zealand, and it was all measured, academically monitored, and they took the whole team, they said to the whole team, look, we'll keep your pay, your salary, everything the same. We want the same output, same work level from you, but you can only be active 4 days a week. The team organized between themselves, they could do it. It worked. It's still working now. And you've probably seen this thing popping up in contemporary press and comments now about the 4-day week being, invoked by certain organizations. It's more of a mindset thing. And I think for us, as business owners, senior people, senior managers, if you think in that way, could you do your job in 4 days a week if you could have every Friday, on the yacht in the south of France or something? And the answer really, if we're honest with it about ourselves, yes, we could. We could do it in 4 days a week. We took a decision 5, 6, 7 years ago now, some time ago in the evolution of our business. We said, well, we're going to run our business in 3 days a week. So we're active with clients Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and we're busy. And these are pretty intense days. My day started yesterday with a 7 o'clock call to the UK, and we wrapped up a final webinar at 9 o'clock at night. So that's not, but I don't mind. It works, it fits, it's okay. So they're pretty intense days, but I want to have those 3 days a week, because if I didn't do that 3 days a week, it would spread to be 5 days a week. I know it would. And so I've decided to force, it doesn't happen like every week, but force my diary into that compressed time zone. So I'm very, very efficient. I'm very efficient, I think, in what I do. Lynn manages my time, as you know, so he makes me be efficient. But if I give you 5 hours to do a job, you'll take 5 hours. If I give you 2 hours to do the same job, you'll do it in 2 hours. One of the key things you've got to look at, I think, and I recognize this for myself as well, is be careful what time you allocate to your work, your business, your job, your role. Because what happens if you don't allocate and are rigid with your professional time, it eats into your personal time, and things that are leisure time, relaxation, family time, travel time, holiday time, weekend time, whatever we call it, though those times get eaten away because work time, professional time eats into it. So be really careful about it, and set yourself a real framework as a start point for this, I think, of how you can limit or reduce or condense your work time. Now, what it may mean you need to do is get some help, get a PA, a VA, some support, or delegate out, or something like this. And what we did, as you know, Lynn and I worked together. I work for Lynn, clearly. She's my boss. The combine harvest is going past now in the village. The beauty of working remotely. There we go. The only traffic we get. So Lynn, Lynn will organize everything that I'm not allowed to do. So I am allowed to do coaching, training, marketing, and selling. That's it. Everything else, Lynn does. Lynn will do the organization of the events and the workshops and the bookkeeping, the accounting, the operations. Arguably, the hard work, Lynn does that. John does our marketing, our web, our tech side of it. So the website's being modified, all that sort of thing. He's doing that, and the logo and design development. He does all that. I'm not allowed to do it, which means I can focus on where I believe I bring best value. And yeah, Phil, you're right. The task expands to fill the available time. It's the law of vacuum. The space is filled by whatever we choose to put into it. So the job number one is be really clear on what time you allocate, and get some help and support. What you'll find when you get help and support coming in, even if you think you can't afford it or it doesn't fit, if you like, or somebody's unmuted. I think I can hear some voice in the background. Yeah, there we go. Done. Just in case you start singing in the background or something. The thing is, you'll allocate your time, and work fills it. That's the main thing. I recommend the book. Have a look at it and see how you get on. Now, in terms of what's happened during the last 15, 16 months, it's been quite stressful for people, for all of us. We've all been in this level of uncertainty. We don't know what's going to happen. How do we cope with this thing? What's going to be the future? And that is stressful. And I include myself in that. I'm not immune to these sort of things. One of the challenges, I think, of doing what I do, I guess, or an opportunity, is that I have to remain upbeat, bright, and positive for everybody, even if inside I'm thinking, crikey, I have no idea what's going to happen here. But anyways, that's a disciplined approach. But it has been quite stressful. I think, I commend everybody, certainly that I know on the call. You dealt with it really well. You come through it, but the stress is there anyway. It just is. And what happens is, when you look at performance and your ability to perform into your planning in the business, is be careful, because we're all good, all of us. I know a lot of people on the call. I know you guys quite well. Under amount of pressure, you respond really well. So you're under stress. If you look at this curve, you've got the stress on the bottom and performance on the left hand side. Under that level of stress and performance, which you need as entrepreneurs and senior people, you work well under pressure. I know you do. We all do. If I put pressure on you when you're on that point on the curve, I apply more pressure to you, deadlines or whatever it is, stress increases, your performance will increase. You go up the curve. And that's okay. It's a good place to be. So you do up the curve, you do a couple of long evenings, you do a weekend, you throw some time at stuff, you get it done, and then you reset back down to this background level of stress. That's doable. That's manageable. That's okay. However, for the same level of performance, and you may recognize this for yourselves as well, is that level of stress is higher. So the level of performance between the yellow and the red is the same. Performance is the same. Stress is different. Now, if I put pressure on you, if you're on this right-hand side of the curve and you've gone over the peak and down the other side, your performance is okay. If I pressurize you, or anybody pressurizes you, time or whatever it is, or resources, if I pressurize that person, you're going to crash and burn, because your performance drops down the curve real quick. And this is the challenge that we face, I think, as we come out of lockdown. We've got to be real careful about our balance, our stress levels, because if we keep pressurizing ourselves, our efficiency will drop like a stone. It just will, because we're stressed, and we've got to reset. We've got to reset ourselves so we go on the other side of the curve. We all need some stress. I know for most of us on here, we do our best work when our back's against the wall and we come out swinging. I know all the cliches, but in reality, whilst we are good under pressure, else we couldn't do what we do, just check in your mind. You'll know which side of the curve are you on. And the way you can test this is when somebody puts a bit of pressure on you, are you barking at them and biting at them and kicking the dog and, that's it. I'm going to resign. I'm going to get a job at the supermarket and I'm going to drive a van or whatever it's going to be. If you find yourself doing that to what are quite minor issues, then you're on the wrong side of the curve, because you can cope with anything when you're on the other side, but not on this side. So take a little bit of time out. Be nice to yourselves. I was literally speaking with Adam in the UK on this morning, and he can't be on the workshop today. But he's playing golf on Friday and Saturday. He's going away, I think, on Thursday night. He's playing golf Friday, playing golf Saturday, coming back refreshed, and hit the ground running on Monday. Good. He's got lots going on, lots of very good stuff going on. I know he has. And the critical time for the business. But what he's recognized is he can do a better job for the business if he's calm, balanced, slightly less stressed, and he's going to go away to reset and have a couple of beers as well. So I recommend that as well. And when you look at what's causing the stress, it's probably going to be, it's not the business. I guarantee it's not the business, because you guys can cope with this okay. It's things that surround it. It's going to be lack of planning, lack of support, frustration with support that you may have. And I was speaking with people during the week, and they said, I've got an assistant, but they're not doing the job properly. I might as well do it myself. And yeah, you might get good people to support you. Don't tolerate stuff that adds to your workload, but get some things taken off you. And as you're looking at de-stressing yourselves, have a look at your sleep patterns, because this is a key driver of making you feel better and perform better. And this is slightly off topic from a 90-day plan, but there's a reason for it. Is when I did my my college course, university course, donkeys years ago, but it stayed with me. We looked at people who work in shifts. I was running the airport, not running the airport. That's wrong. Let me retract that a bit. I was running a company that operated at Heathrow, Gatwick, and Stansted, and ramp services, and we had about 500 people working for us. 3 airports, triple shift system. Heathrow doesn't operate from 11 till 6. That wasn't quite so bad. Gatwick's a 24-hour airport, and so is Stansted. So our ramp services had to operate pretty much 24/7. And in fact, I remember I said to my mom, I was working at the airport, and she told people I was running Heathrow. So I'd meet people and they go, congratulations on the new job. That's very good, thank you. And what's it like running Heathrow? As if I was running BAA or something like that. I wasn't. We were a small ramp services company. It was fabulous, but I wasn't running Heathrow. But what we found was when we looked at people working shift patterns, even if they were getting good quality sleep, if they're on shift, it was detrimental to their health, detrimental to their performance, highly detrimental to their longevity. Working shifts, having disrupted flexible sleep patterns is not good for cardiovascular health. They were having more heart attacks, more strokes, more stress. And we found that it was all to do with their sleep patterns. And the perfect shift pattern basically is be in bed by 9:30, 10 o'clock, and be up by about 5:30, 6 o'clock. That's the sweet spot, if you like. But if you find yourself that you're not sleeping well, if you're working late into the night, or you're getting less than 7 hours sleep. Some of us I need 8. If you get less than 7 hours sleep, you don't get the quality of sleep that you need. You may be asleep, but you're not getting the deep sleep, the REM, rapid eye movement sleep, that is this regenerative sleep. And if you don't get that, and it comes in fits and bursts throughout the night, if you like, if you're not getting enough of that when you wake up, that's why you feel tired. I don't know if anybody's ever woken up in the morning and gone, I've had 10 hours sleep and I feel terrible. It just feels even awful. It's not length of sleep, it's quality of sleep within at least a 7-hour period. And this is your circadian rhythm. It's how the body clock works fundamentally. So for me, I want to be the best. Exactly. Yes, I know exactly how you feel. For me, I need 8 hours. I'm going to be in bed asleep 10 o'clock, and I'm going to be up at 5:30, 6 o'clock. That works for me. I'm good with that. I'm okay with it. If I start to squeeze that time down, have a late night or a very early morning, I can do it once or twice in a run. But after that, I'm not 21 anymore. I've realized that, but I can't deal with it. Now, the challenge is what we do as adults when we get this, we're busy, we're stressed, we're working too many hours, we're doing emails into the night or whatever. We tend then to go, that's it, I'll relax now. Then we have a glass of wine. wine or a glass of scotch or a cocktail or a beer, whatever it be, we have alcohol to calm us down. Now, if you've had alcohol, will you sleep after a couple of glasses of wine or beer or whatever? Yeah, you'll sleep, but not quality sleep. And then what happens then in the morning, you wake up after even 6 hours sleep, whatever it is, and you don't feel great. So then what do? You reach for the caffeine. You have a caffeine shot to wake you up. So alcohol, depressant, caffeine, stimulant. And what happens is that really screws with our body clock because our quality of sleep is all over the place. We're using depressants, we're using stimulants to get up in the morning and deal with it. And that affects the quality of our sleep again. It's a vicious cycle. So one of my rules is I don't drink alcohol, for example, from Sunday night through to Thursday night. Friday night, all bets are off. I don't go mad, but Sunday to Thursday, I don't drink alcohol. In the mornings, I will have coffee, but I don't need caffeine to keep awake. I just like coffee. If you're drinking coffee, even if you don't need it to keep awake, don't drink it beyond 1-2 o'clock in the afternoon, because caffeine will keep you awake and then you'll need alcohol to bring you down again, whatever it is. So watch out for that. So manage your nutrition. It all fits in. If you get good quality sleep and you're not using stimulants and depressants or whatever it is to manage your sleep, I guarantee you're going to be more productive, more efficient, more happy, nicer to be around in your business than you are if not, because you're then more efficient and more productive. So to get your best from your 90-day plan, the goals and targets you set yourselves and become more efficient, it actually starts with, I think, getting some quality sleep, being nice to yourselves. And I had to do it for myself as well. Though everybody knows now I'm a grandfather now. It sounds very old, but I as a 20-year-old, I could burn the midnight oil, go out to the pubs and the clubs, up at 4 a.m, into work and do it regular. I can't do it. I shouldn't do it then, but I can't do it now. No alcohol in the house 7 days a week. Fantastic. There you go. Great. Now I'm not, it's not for me to preach at anybody saying, stop drinking, don't smoke and whatever. It's all things in moderation in my experience, but definitely alcohol, caffeine, or, energy drink. Anybody here is drinking energy drinks. You find yourself going for the Monster or the Red Bull. Don't, because they're highly stimulants. They mask your tiredness. This would happen in the driving world. People drinking Red Bull to stay alert behind the wheel. It's a synthetic alertness. It doesn't actually work, and you've got to be so careful. We also measured when people. We had some team come around to measure people's cognitive ability when they were tired, and what we found was if people were sleep deprived, it was the same effect as if they were drunk, basically over the alcohol limit. Now imagine from our point of view at the airport, we had people out there driving lorries and Bowsers and trucks and cars around the airport, airside, in between aircraft, where you've got the public, you've got passengers, you've got aircraft landing and taking off. We're driving over the runways. If somebody's tired and operating as if they're drunk, you don't want that, because you're gonna kill somebody. So we had to be real careful. It changed our approach to shift working as well. But the same applies to us. You want to do your best work, you've got to be in best condition, best state, and state management is a key driver. So another quick an idea for you. This is what I have this thing pinned on the wall in the office. It's called the Eisenhower Matrix. I'm assuming that it came from Eisenhower, the US president. I can't prove that, but it's an interesting model about how do you prioritize and check your work. What are you doing? I see lots of people doing stuff they shouldn't be doing because they just fill their diary with stuff. And so this is a little matrix I have on the wall. We color code the jobs we have to do. So if it's urgent and important, I do it. So if it's a client conversation, a coaching call, a sales meeting, a request for help and support, whatever it is, it's urgent and important, I do it. I jump onto it straight away. Now, it may be that I get a request come through that is equally important, but it's not that urgent. And that's when I schedule it. I'm going to schedule that. So we have a booking come through for a conference next May, I think it is. So the inquiry came through. Could we give a quotation proposal, this sort of thing? That was urgent. They wanted it within about a week. That bit was urgent and important, but the rest of it, the design of the conference, the meeting with the team, going to the venue, meeting the collaborators and structuring the whole sort of thing, That's going to wait till we've got a meeting in November, I think. We've got a meeting in March, and then we're out the blocks. And the pace will increase as we go along. And that orange, not urgent work will become urgent and important. But for now, I'm not even thinking about it. It's a fabulous booking. I'm grateful to have it. It's cool. It's cool. But it's not urgent yet. And therefore, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to schedule it. It may be I have things coming in that are not urgent and not important. And this would be just things. How many emails do you guys get when somebody wants to improve your SEO rankings, or do you a website, do you a logo, or whatever it is? Spam and stuff comes in, or requests for this and requests for that. Not urgent and definitely not important. Delete. Don't spend any time on it. Don't give it mind space. Even if if you get, don't get yourself wound up by spam coming in, all this sort of thing. Whatever it is, the things that social media requests can be spam, all this sort of thing, whatever it is, not urgent, not important, just delete it and move on. They may have things that are urgent and not important. Now I get what I mean by that what fits my job description, what I'm allowed to do. So I had an email come in, and somebody needed a proposal looking at for us to do a diary schedule thing for an event in, I think it was 6 months time or something like that, towards the end of the year. Now it's urgent. It is important to the business, but not important to me. So I delegate. I hesitate to say this word, delegate, to Lynn. I beg Lynn to help me. No, I don't. But that's Lynn's job. So I take it off my schedule and I ask Lynn to do it. Now Lynn will do the same to me when there's a client request or something comes in that fits my spec. But be really clear on where do you bring value to your business? Where's your £1,000 an hour work that you're able to do? If it doesn't fit it, you want to get rid of it. Now, if I say delegate it, you've got no one to delegate it to, this is where you need help. This is where you need to find somebody, a person, somebody in the team, a collaborator, an alliance partnership, a VA, a PA, or whatever you want to call it. Get some help, because I guarantee if you're really good at what you do, and it is this £1,000 an hour work mentality, the more of that you do, the cost of hiring somebody will pretty quickly evaporate because you're doing your best work. And as I said this up at the workshop on Friday, and they said we've got nobody to delegate to. This is a company with, I think they've got 6,000 people on site. And I'm pretty sure there's somebody you can delegate to. You can delegate upwards, you can delegate sideways, you can delete it, you can read whatever. There's always options. Where we should be working a sweet spot every day in our short-term, perceived time, psychological time diary is urgent and important work. That's what most of it should be. Now, should we do things that are not urgent but important? Yes, but we should schedule that so it fits around us. Now, doing a workshop like this, for example, is not urgent because you could delay it. You could do it some other time. You could, watch the recording for it. So it's not urgent, but it is important. I think it's important. So there are things like personal development and knowledge, research, all these things that don't shout very loud at us, that they are important but not urgent. They get left if we're not very careful, or if we ignore them, they become urgent if you're not very careful. Then we find ourselves in firefighting mode, because then all we do is urgent and important. Everything's urgent, everything's late, everything's overdue, it's panicking, quality drops. So in our schedules, we should diarize and structure absolutely urgent and important work. Client work, if you're a martial artist, it's going to be working with your students, with your instructors, whatever it is. Client work is urgent and important. Also diarize in there and schedule not urgent work, learning and development, research, marketing, training, CPDs, whatever it is that is going to contribute towards your value. Make sure you're scheduling some of your time. So when it's on a Monday and a Friday, for example, in my diary, I can do my not urgent but important work. It doesn't matter where I do it from. I can do it from anywhere. I take my laptop, I can do some research, do some training, jump on a webinar, jump on a call, and absorb new ideas, new information. So I schedule my urgent time is my priority time, and my non-urgent time as well. So just be careful what you're doing. Some people, I guess some people on this call I know are doing some red work, not urgent, not important. They just are. Whatever. I'm not going to name anybody. Some of us are doing urgent work, but not important to us, because we're doing work we shouldn't really do. We're not delegating it. We're not structuring a team around ourselves to buy ourselves the freedom to do the green work and the orange work. In my diary, green work is the 3 days solid, pretty much. and the orange work is about 20% flows around it. You can see it's harvest time here, can't you? In the village, we've got all sorts of tractors going down the high street here. But anyway, so that's a kickoff. That's a sort of first launch. What I'm going to invite you to do now, if it's okay, is to go into the breakout rooms, and I'll set them all up as we go along. The question for you to answer is, how can you improve your productivity before you do your 90-day plan, which you are going to get onto? How productive are you? How efficient are you? What tips and tricks do you use you can share with other people? How can you improve your productivity? Because that's the key driver of anything you're going to do. I'm going to put you into groups of about 3 or 4, and I'm going to give you 25 minutes. So it'll be about 5 past the hour, I think. Okay, Morelli's has to drop out. That's absolutely fine. Good to see you. Thank you for participating. So let me just set this up and go into breakout rooms. I'm going to leave you to it. So I'm going to go through 3 breakout rooms. I should do it. I know I'm not engineering these rooms. You're going to get who you get, have a conversation, but be quite challenging with each other. Share some ideas, share some notes. We're going to come back in about 25 minutes, half an hour. I'll let you know when we're going to shut it down, and then we're going to go into put it into practice for you. So I'm going to create the rooms now and open the rooms, and then just click. If you're happy, just click into the room as you go along, and you'll see some fabulous people in there. Yeah, I can see the groups. So yeah, everybody's got a really good group, which is great. And have a discussion, share notes. I'll leave you in peace, and away you go. Hi everybody, welcome back. Welcome back. Yeah, we're back in the main room. Excellent. So I hope you we'll have time to have a chat and a debrief and some Q&A at the end, so we'll get a catch up with everybody properly then. But I saw who was in the groups. Got some great people in the groups there, so hopefully got some tips and ideas and made some new connections and contacts, that sort of thing. So good. So any tips, any questions, any thoughts right now, just put into the chat box. That would be fine. And I'm going to continue on, and then we'll wrap it up with a live Q&A towards the end. So you checked on how you can improve productivity, and I think looking after ourselves is probably the key thing to do it. Something else when it comes to doing your plans, is maybe a bit of a refresher or a reminder, is figure out why you're doing it. What is your why? What is your purpose? Why are you doing this to yourselves? Because everybody on the call, we're all very skilled at what we do. We're good at what we do. We like what we do. We love what we do. But it does serve a purpose. We don't just do things because there's my timer going off to shut the rooms. There we go. We don't just do this because we're good at it. We do it because it guides us towards something. It makes a contribution. It solves a problem. It manifests a dream for us or a vision that we've had. And something for me, and as you know, for Lynn and I, we always wanted to live in France when we were younger with the 2 boys. And this business allowed us to do that happily. I love what I do, and that is, I enjoy what I do. I love what I do, but that's not the dream. The dream was never to do this particularly. The dream was to live in France, travel, the lifestyle, all this sort of thing, which we are very fortunate in being able to do now. But then it was that held us together. It all made sense when we got here in terms of building the business around it. So the 2 go together. And a lovely story that I like repeating. You may have heard me talk this one before, but it's of a lady called Julia Butterfly Hill. And over in California, they have the giant sequoias and redwoods, which are different species, but sequoias, redwood trees. And I think it was a giant sequoia, and they were due to cut it down in the forest over there in California. And she objected to this, and rightly so as well. And she climbed the tree. Sat in the canopy of the tree, and said to the companies cutting down the trees, "I'm not going to come down until you promise not to cut the tree down. You agree not to cut the tree down." She actually wrote a contract to the tree. I think nailed it to it, and he said, "No, my feet won't touch the ground until you're safe." And she signed and dated it. And the question is, of course, and if you know the answer to this, that's absolutely fine, but how long did she stay in the tree for? If this was you want something that's important to you, that is significant to you, that you feel strongly about, you have a passion about, how long are you going to stay in the tree for? And of course, for her, it was 107 weeks, I think it was, over 2 years, sat in a tree. Now, she had friends to help her with supplies going up and things coming down, all that sort of stuff. But she stayed in the tree for 2 years, saved the tree, and life was good. Then she wrote a book. Afterwards, you can Google it, Julia Butterfly Hill. The book is called Saving Luna. Luna was the name of the tree. And the question that she asks people now is when they're committing to do something, is what's your tree? What's your purpose? What's your goal? What's your vision? What's your dream? But what's your tree? What are you doing this for? And I think for too many people, they lose sight of this, the purpose, the vision, the whatever you want to call it. What's the why? Why do you do this? Because if people are working on purpose, with clarity, with passion, with determination, they become instantly more compelling to work with. They attract great people to them. They're more productive, more efficient. They get stuff done. They negotiate better. They sell better. They get better clients, and life is just better. If people don't know why they're doing it or what the real purpose is, then the opposite applies as well, because they're just going through the motions of it. And you can see this maybe recognizing yourselves from time to time, or people around you, or maybe members of your team. You get somebody who's not really got any goals or aims or purpose in life. Difficult to motivate, difficult to inspire, difficult to get them to work on purpose towards anything, because they haven't got a purpose for themselves. So for us, and for everybody, for you guys as well, what is your why? And I don't need to share it. This is not a it's not a psychotherapy course, but be clear for yourselves. Be clear for yourselves of what is your purpose, what is your why are you doing it, what gets you out of bed in the morning, what drives and what motivates you, what keeps you spirited, if you like, keeps you going, keeps you on track. So you can Google the book as well and get the details there. Julia Butterfly Hill, Saving Luna. There's all sorts of materials out there, but that's what we call commitment, and that's what we've got to do, because we have nowhere to go. All of us pretty much on this call, I think, looking down the list here, I think we're all pretty much unemployable now. Nobody's going to hire us anyway. We can't go and drive a van for the supermarket. We can't go and work in an office for somebody else. We chose this path, and we've got to make the very best of it, because we're good at what we do and we love it, but have a purpose there, have a real driving why. That will guide you in terms of the plans that you set for yourselves as well. And also, then, what is your goal? Now, come to 90 days now. What is your goal? How will you know when you're successful? How are you going to know when you're successful? Because nobody's going to tell you, because you're in your own business. You're in charge yourself. And you may get some feedback from your family and friends and colleagues, that sort of thing. How will you know when you're successful? What will have to happen for you to know, short-term, medium-term, or long-term, that you are moving forwards, achieving, and successful? And for a lot of us, it's a feeling. It's just a feeling. We have that sort of contentment, if you like, happiness or certainty that we're doing good things, we're growing, we're adding value, and the balance sheet looks better as well. But that's what we recognize as being success. But there is this fabulous story about Jim Carrey when he was a struggling Canadian. He's always been Canadian. He's a struggling Canadian comedian, in fact, in Hollywood, and he found the house that he wanted. I think he was sleeping in his car at the time, and he wrote himself a check for $10 million in 1994, $10 million for acting services rendered. And he put that check in his wallet. And of course, he had no way of cashing it, no way of realizing it. But he wanted to use that money to go and buy the house he'd just seen. And so the story goes, and I can't remember which movie it was, whether it was his first ones or one of his first ones. I think it was Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, I think, or it may have been The Mask. I'm not sure which one. But anyway, he did this, gone to the movies, made some money, and then he was able to go and cash the check as well. Now, you can do this for yourselves. What is your goal? What will you treat yourselves to as a consequence of achieving your 90-day plan, your 12-month forecast, or your life plan? Don't leave it till the end. Don't leave it to the end of life to start rewarding yourselves, because nothing's guaranteed to any of us. So have some short-term rewards. What's your goal for the next 90 days? What is your goal? What are you going to, what will good look like? What will success look like? And we'll put this into the plan for you to have a play with, if you like. But you can even write yourself a check. Why not commit? Book yourself something for the future, future-proof it. And that is having a goal. It doesn't matter what it is, but certainly have a goal for short-term, long-term, medium-term. But for the 90 days you're looking at, what's your 90-day goal? What are you going to treat yourself to? What looks good? And in terms of getting stuff done, this comes back to the time management a little bit, but a compelling little book. If you like, eat that frog, get the tough stuff done first. Get the rubbish out of the way first. That will get you clarity to move on and get the exciting things done. but don't put off and delay the stuff you don't enjoy doing. If you know to hit your 90-day plan, you've got to go and negotiate with the bank for an overdraft or a loan, or you've got to do something you don't really enjoy doing. Do it in week one. Get it out of the way. Don't leave it to the last week of the quarter. I guarantee you're going to look forward to it. It'll bring your mood down as well. If you've got a negative job to do at the end of a day, the whole day is destroyed. Get it done at the start of the day. It improves your mood, improves your productivity. You feel better. You've achieved something, and away you go. So, as a mindset, with all the things you've got to do to achieve the goal for the 90 days, do these early and stop. It says on the title, stop procrastinating. There's no such thing as procrastination. It's just laziness. It's just not doing stuff you know you should do. We put a label on it of procrastination because it makes us sound like we've got an elegant solution to things, but it's not. Just we can't be asked. That's all it is. We're deflecting, we're filtering, we're avoiding all this sort of stuff that goes on. What we're absolutely doing is we're sabotaging. So if you find yourself doing this, watch out. Get the nasty jobs, the tough jobs, ones you don't want to do. Get them done first. Get them out of the way, and then do your best work as you go along afterwards. Now, in the best interests or the best traditions, if you like, of the personal development training world, everything's got a name for it, a system and a method and a process, whatever it is. As we had the Eisenhower matrix earlier on, got the Ivy Lee method, and I've found this some time ago. It's basically a to-do list. There's nothing particularly radical about it, but it is an interesting way of approaching your time and structure to your 90-day plan, which we're going to get onto in a few minutes. Number one, end of each day, write down the 6 most important things you're going to need to accomplish tomorrow. And I have a little notepad and pen. I have the old-fashioned way of doing it, and I know what I'm doing, what's my plan for tomorrow. But I write the list at the end of each day, and I park it somewhere so I know it's done, and then prioritize them in terms of their true importance, urgent and important, important, not urgent, wherever it is. I color code them, and then I work through them in that little priority list. I go through on the first task. Now, maybe on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the first task or first job is I'm on a Zoom call with a client. It could be I was speaking to Australia yesterday morning, I was Chicago yesterday evening. All good, all great, all good fun stuff. So I go through it, and then I have my non-urgent work that I prioritize as well, and I work through that. So we're looking at updating our website, we're looking at updating our email marketing systems, for example. We're looking at updating our email attraction strategies. So we're doing that. That's not urgent, but it's quite important. That's diarized, and away we go. Then we approach the rest of the task in the same fashion, and then number 5, guess what? You do the same again. But it does bring a framework to a pattern of behavior that will get you into it avoids this psychological time being a drain on us, because it's reality. We've got in real time now task list, to-do list. It's tangible. We get on with it. We do the tough jobs first, and it makes this psychological time evaporate, and we can get more done. Because remember, in the short term, we overestimate what we can do. We just do because we're in this psychological time. This brings a framework to it, and it does 2 things. One, it brings a fixed framework to the work we've got to do, so you can work your way through it. But from a subconscious point of view, if you do a to-do list and you have it on your bedside table, on your desk, or whatever it is. For some of us, the desk is the bedside table now because we're working on lockdown. But anyway, if you've got that to-do list ready to go, then your subconscious will allow you to relax, because it's not trying to figure out what tomorrow looks like. It'll stop trying to put sense into the day, bring sense into tomorrow, so your subconscious can go, okay, we're good. Tomorrow's going to be fine, all structured, all sorted. That will affect your sleep patterns, which is the first slide we looked at pretty much, and you'll get better quality sleep, and you'll be raw regenerative sleep, and then you'll feel better in the mornings. You don't need alcohol, you don't need coffee to wake up. It becomes a virtuous circle. This very, very simple technique, but it absolutely works. And it will improve the quality of the work you do, and improve the quality of the sleep you're able to achieve as well. So how do you then roll this into a 90-day plan? So what I've done, this is a new document. I'm going to show you the document on here, but I'm going to show you the spreadsheet template as well, which I will email over to you. You're welcome to have a copy of this thing. This is a simple 90-day plan. What I've realized in my time of doing this is that I'm an engineer. I'm sort of quite detail oriented, and I can put a 90-day plan together, which is detailed and structured and has hours allocated to tasks, and it looks amazing. It's great. I love it. I pin it on my wall and I can work to it on the detail orientation. Those who are working on the disc profile, we call it high C. I like the detail and structure that goes along with it. So what I would do, I would give that template to people who aren't quite wired like me, the more maybe creative type people, if you like, to a certain extent, and they look at all these boxes and things like that and they go, oh my God, they can't do that. They never do it. They don't bother filling it in. So what I've done is for those with disc experience, this is the high D version of a 90-day plan. And let me just pop it on my screen here. I'll show you. So this is the actual spreadsheet. Here we go. Get it up on the screen. I'll send you a copy. Now, how it works is this. Very simple. This is like a 10-minute job. So all you do, you put in here the yellow box, you click in here, you put your 90 days starting July the 1st this year. All I would suggest, and what I do and I see will work really well, is you just pick 3 objectives for the quarter. There's lots of other stuff you're going to do. You're going to be busy with clients and accounts and marketing, absolutely, all sorts of stuff. But 3 key objectives. You're only going to plan for the exceptions. You don't need a daily plan of your every activity you're going to. That's called your diary. We're not in diary planning. We're in 90-day planning. Things are going to move the business forward. So objective 1, 2, and 3. And all you do, I've made this up, you can put whatever you like in here. In the first green box, let's say you want to improve your conversion rate to 65% in your business, or whatever it is, or I'll start holding regular team meetings, or recruit a new engineer to come and help you out, or whatever it is. So you choose your 3 key goals. That's job number 1. And below that, there are 3 targets or operational things you've got to do to achieve that goal. So to get your conversion rate to 65%, for example, you may design a follow-up system. You're going to improve your conversion rate, follow up every quote and quotation price you ever give. Make sure you follow up smartly and consistently. That will improve your conversion rate. So you build a system for that. Maybe you need some sales training for you or the team. Get a sales trainer to come in. Yes, I am available in September. Sales presenter pack. Maybe you need to improve the way you or your sales team, your people present the company. And again, I've chosen these from random. What happens though, whatever you type in here shows up here in this little box automatically. So follow-up system equals follow-up system. Sales training, sales training. Sales presenter pack, sales presenter pack. All color coded, same thing applies. Whatever you type in, it goes into that box automatically for you. It's the magic of Excel. I am a wizard. Anyway, there we go. Same with the other targets, regular team meetings, or agree agenda, brief the managers, introduce the process, recruit an engineer, get the job spec done, give an agency a brief, for example, and start interviewing. And all you do then is when here you've got this timeline across, which is 13 weeks, you just allocate, well, when you're going to do this stuff. So the follow-up system, they're going to do it in week 1, 2, and 3 of the quarter. They're going to do the sales training, get that booked for week 6, 7, and 8, or during that period. And the sales presenter pack, rejig that between weeks 3 and 6. And they do the same for the 3, there's 6 target goals in there. That's your plan. Ever so easy, date sensitive, specific to activities. You can monitor it, you can plot it, you can see what you're doing, you can pin it on the wall, leave it on your screen, but it's a high D 90-day plan. I do use this one. I'm not that detail sensitive. I much prefer broad brush sort of things. This is something that I use. I sort of pin it on the wall or have it on my screen. It's just a check note. It's a check. How am I doing? What should I be preparing for? How to guarantee those 3 targets up there is to achieve the mini goals that are underneath each one of them. So just 3 objectives for the quarter. Each objective has 3 sub-targets, and it's those that you plan, because the outcome of those 3 sub-targets will be, or should be, completion of the task and then achieving the required outcome. So when you're doing 90-day planning, we're not looking for a diary. We're not looking for everything. What's your 90-day look like? Because you're busy doing stuff anyway. We're sort of planning by the exception, the strategic things, the business development goals, the whatever it is. These are just a layer of things that go on top of your day-to-day work. You're going to plan your day-to-day work by having Google Calendar. My calendar is fully booked. It's great. Lynn's done a very good job. I'm flat out and busy, and all is good. These are things I'm planning. My 90-day planning is not just my day-to-day. It's what is going to contribute to making the business move forwards to grow and develop and achieve our strategic long-term goals. By doing it this way, it means I'm not over egging the 90-day plan. I'm not over assuming what I can do in the short term. It's realistic. I agree. Lynn's got her own 90-day plan. John's got a 90-day plan. I've got mine. We compare notes. They combine with each other, and we collaborate, and away we go. So that's what I would suggest, or something. Use your own by all means, but have something like that. Hopefully, this is very simple and straightforward. I will email you out a copy of the video when it's all downloaded, copy of the slides or the slide deck, and a copy of that spreadsheet template. You're welcome to use it and see how you get on. So before we go into the breakout rooms, again, I'm going to put you into to discuss, and your challenge for the next breakout is, what's your number one priority for Q3? Looking at that, what do you want to achieve in Q3? What's critical for you to achieve in Q3? Is it getting back to where you were pre-COVID restrictions, if you like? Is it opening up a new location, a new branch? Is it the new website? What's the number one thing, or the top three things you're going to do? What's your number one priority for Q3 that you think you should be doing to move your business forwards? In my experience, I mean, I've been through this sort of thing before, but I've got enough gray hairs to have gone through other challenging times in business, from 2008, for example. That was quite challenging. Other times of business and life where we had the fuel crisis, the oil crisis, all sorts of things. Lots of things happen. They do pass, they do evaporate, they do go along. In my experience, though, every time one of these sort of things happens, it always opens up opportunities to come out a lot stronger than we went into it. It just does. Now, it could be a good time to consider coming out of this and maybe open up another branch, another location. Is it the time to franchise your business? Is it time to go down the acquisition route? A lot of distressed businesses out there, the balance sheets are weak. Very weak balance sheets. They don't know what they're doing. So maybe if you can look to get a deal on a business that you can buy for, no money down, you'll be fair with the people, but you buy them out, it pays out of cash flow. Businesses are weakened out. There's a lot of zombie companies walking around that really maybe not going to make it. So you could grow through acquisition. Now, I'm not recommending you do it, but it's an idea to look at. Options are out there. One of the key things is, we don't have a lot of choice about, is we've got to go to growth. We've got to get growth back on the agenda, because to name the cliche, if we're not growing, we're dying, but I'm not quite sure that's true. But growth is the only successful pattern in business, because you've got to maintain momentum. If we stop doing the activities that continue growth, I guarantee the business will decline. It just will. No business will stay static. It doesn't happen that way. You've got to really fine tune all your activities to get to stay static. We're either growing or we're declining, or we're doing the roller coaster ride of up and down and sideways, this sort of thing. So growth is going to be a key, I would suggest, strategic choice. It's how you do it. What are the contributing factors towards that? Do you need to get some help? Do you need to buy a business? Do you need to invest? What is it you need to do? So this is your number one priority. But before we go into the breakout rooms, any questions so far? Just type them in. Questions, thoughts, observations. We're going to have another sort of 25 minutes, maybe half an hour breakout, and then we can come back for some open up to chat and discussion at the very end. But any questions? Any questions so far? Everybody happy? Type in a yes. For goodness sake, give me something to go on. Come on. Give me a yes. Give me a high five. Thank you, Sue. You are my favorite person on the call now, out of everybody. Thank you very much. Good. Oh, thank you, Phil. You're my favorite as well now. Bless you. Okay, so your challenge for the next breakout is simply to go through and compare notes with each other. What is your number one priority? Why did you choose that one? Why is it important to you? And what's the consequence of not having it? These are the golden questions we know about in sales anyway. Anybody wants to know about that, drop me a message. But why is it important? Why did you choose it? Why is it important? And what happens if you don't achieve it? These are the motivation thing. We do our best work when our back's against the wall, remember. Bit of heat as well. So number one priority, biggest goal, what are you looking at? Why did you choose it? And that's a great question to ask anybody. Why that one? I want to buy a Ferrari. Why? Always interesting. Find the motivations there. Thanks for it. Osman, thank you. That's okay. Yes, yeah. Great to see you. As Osman's going to drop off, thank you for coming onto the call. I'll send you the notes as we go along anyway. So thank you for participating. So I'm going to form the rooms. I'll get the breakout rooms open now, and we're going to go for about 25 minutes again, coming out of this at around about sort of quarter to the hour, something like that. So. Okay. Oops. Just a second. There we go. So I'm going to open the rooms. You'll be invited in. I'll see you in about 25 minutes, half an hour. In the meantime, what's number one priority for the quarter, and why you're doing it. So rooms are open, and I'll see you real soon.
Oh, good.
Welcome back. Here we go. Everybody's in, I think, just about. Excellent. There we are. Gotcha. Good. So what I'll do, I'm just going to go on to the final slide. Then we'll open up to some questions. So hopefully you got some tips and ideas from that. We're going to go into the Ask Me Anything or open up to the room. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop recording and then shut the slides down. I'm just going to open screen so we can just talk a bit more freely, if that's okay. So let me just pause the recording, and that officially stops the formal aspect of it, if you like.